Oh, I fucking love this movie. I'm John Retton with the retro review of The Conjuring, directed by James Wan, who directed Saw, Insidious, Dead Silence, The Conjuring 2, Electric Boogaloo, as well as Aquaman. Yes, modern day horror savant that is James Wan, who understands subtlety in horror, and even his worst movies have a touch of just really, really good stuff and some good elements. He got to direct a big budget superhero action movie and did a really good job with that. And James Wan, I will watch any movie that James Wan does, and I can't wait for The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It, even though he didn't direct that. I am pretty damn excited because I love the Conjuring movies, even Annabelle 2014. Actually, I don't love that one, but I own all the movies, and I love just watching them, rewatching them, and just having some fun. Even the worst movie can have some good elements to it. And I decided that since The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do is coming out soon, I would do retro reviews of this, as well as Annabelle, The Conjuring 2, and maybe even revisit Annabelle Creation. It is one of my favorite horror prequels, probably ever. Maybe my favorite horror prequel ever. What are your favorite horror prequels? Let me know in the comments. So anyway, this movie is fucking phenomenal from beginning to end. Yes, you could argue that if you remember the original advertisements, that it did spoil a lot of these scares, like the clap scene. That hide and clap and all that really, really good stuff there. But this had a great, it even had good writing, despite the fact that the team that wrote that, they did the remake of House of Wax, The Reaping, that was not good at all, Whiteout, that was not good at all, as well as The Conjuring 2 and The Turning. One hardly needs to go on about The Turning except to say, geez, the movie had some setup and then that's it, we ran out of budget. Cool, whatever. Anyway, so this is based on the case files of Ed and Lorraine Warren, and however you feel about supernatural stuff, demonic possession and everything, this is based, at least in some reality. They have a museum. This belongs in a museum. And Ed Warren is played by Patrick Wilson, who is great, except in The Tall Grass, that was not good. Even he couldn't save that. Vera Farmiga plays Lorraine Warren, so they're husband and wife. We have the Perron family. Lily Taylor plays Carolyn. And then Roger is played by Ron Livingston, I presume. He may not be, ha-ha. And they have their kids, Shane Lee Caswell, Haley McFarland. Joey King. Is Joey King only contractually obligated to be in horror movies? Genuine question. It seems like that's all I've seen her in. And she's a bright young actress that can do some other stuff, I believe. Mackenzie Foy, yes. Believe it or not, the Renesmee that... the girl that was in Twilight, that was a baby in Twilight, not the digitized version. She was in this, and as well as Kyla Dever. And there's a bunch of kids, and there's a spoopy setting. It's basically like James Wan's Amityville Horror, except the Amityville Horror was not that good. James Wan actually added life and energy and atmosphere and spoopiness and everything. It didn't have a guy being, outshined by his goddamn beard. Oh, hi, James Brolin, I didn't see you there. This is basically just a phenomenal haunted house movie with some good family elements to it. I'm not saying every character is fleshed out, but James Wan understands horror. He understands subtlety. He understands how to build stuff up. And also, since it's part of the Conjuring universe, this ended up launching a goddamn... for good or bad, it launched a goddamn universe. We got the spin-off 2014 Annabelle movie. Then we got The Conjuring 2. Then we got Annabelle Creation. It was good. And then we got The Nun that existed. I was a little bit too praiseworthy of The Nun. And then Annabelle Comes Home and... The Curse of La Llorona. And now we're going to get The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. We might even get The Crooked Man at some point. We're going to have about 25 of these movies. They're just going to end up doing a box set for like $200 at one point. So anyway, it opens with the Annabelle doll. The Annabelle doll, by the way, this doll is not nearly as frightening as the real doll. That is a Raggedy Ann doll. That is utterly terrifying. When the story went around of, the Annabelle doll escaping, I'm like, shit, we are screwed. Everybody is screwed. Shut down the universe. We are done. But thankfully, the Annabelle doll was okay. So there are some nursing students that were harassed by this Annabelle doll. And said we felt so bad, so we gave her permission to move into the doll. That always works out in horror movies. And then what's an inhuman spirit? It's a demon that wanted to get inside you. Oh, sure. But when I try moving on, and... we get loud opening credits because they get the Annabelle doll and everything. It was kind of cool how you got the miss me thing because, when you try to get rid of a doll that's clearly possessed, throwing it away is a great idea, especially when you throw it away, right outside your apartment where things can skitter and everything and get back in there. And, oh, God, dolls terrify me. So, despite the fact I have this shirt. So, opening credits are kind of like The Exorcist, except good. I'm sorry, The Exorcist never appealed to me. I may retro review that at some point for Horror Movie Month. But it's set in Harrisville, Rhode Island in 1971, if man was still young. Well, Ron Livingston sort of was. And then we get the family moving into parent family. And they move into an isolated house that they got, they bought from the bank on auction and everything. They didn't bother to study stuff about this because, one, the internet wasn't around, and two, they were desperate to basically get a house that would take 5 girls. And you always listen to the dog. You always listen to the goddamn dog in these movies. You didn't. They didn't listen to it. The dog would not go in. The dog doesn't make it very long, by the way. The kids are happy to have their own rooms. But there's something strange about this place. Well, like I said, about the dog. There's a bunch of stuff left in the basement that was boarded off. Gee, why would the cellar be boarded off with all this dusty stuff and everything? It looked like it'd been there for... Some had been there for a couple years, and some had been there for about 50. Something's weird, but we don't care because we have peace, and also somehow school buses get out there. So it sounds like I'm being harsh on this. I'm just having a little bit of fun with the movie. But we cut to Monroe, Connecticut, where the Warrens are. They have all the stuff in there. We got a skeptic guy that's going to write a book, and there's all these items. This suit of armor and this, toy monkey that does the clapping cymbal thing. Rock and roll, Martian. God, if anybody gets that, I fucking love you guys. But anyway, they have a daughter, the Warrens do, and you're not supposed to come in here. What are you doing? That ties into Annabelle Comes Home a bit later, even though it was supposed to be when they took the Annabelle doll there and they were going to do something else, and then it was weird. It was very, very weird that they did this. That was a bit of a weird timeline, the Annabelle movies. So anyway, don't touch anything. And, well, the guy asked, why wouldn't you just destroy it? Well, that will only destroy the vessel. Sometimes it's better to keep the genie in the bottle. And you got to rub it the right way. I saw Christina Aguilera in concert in 2000. That was 21 years ago. So anyway, Lorraine had an incident during an exorcism. It ties into The Nun. Everything's interwoven here. Sometimes well, sometimes like the Curse of La Llorona, where we're just going to shoehorn something in there. And then we're going to have Linda Cardellini looking really great, and little else about the movie. Stop blaming yourself because Lorraine's been traumatized since that, because it takes a piece of her and it took a really big piece this time. So next, we get to more, family stuff and everything. They're putting the house together. Cindy is sleepwalking. Mackenzie Foy, she's a great foil for that. Man, I'm really trying hard with these. And Carolyn gets, some deep bruises. What the hell's going on? Well, it turns out that, they basically possessed the mother to get to the children. Birds fly straight into the goddamn window, breaking all their fucking necks. Man, that Whisper to a Scream version is a lot weirder in my eyes. And then earlier, Cindy, by the way, found a music box outside the tree. The tree where the witch hung herself. Yeah, there's a witch in this, in case you don't know. And also, the dog's dead, which sucks. At least they didn't show the dog dying on camera. I'll give them that much credit. And she's talking to this boy, Rory, that's a ghost. She doesn't know he's a ghost, or maybe she does. But anyway, it says to the mother, hey, you play this, and when it stops, you can see him in the mirror. Oh, I guess he doesn't want to see it. We'll play hide and clap. And then, well, she, hide and clap with her. And then you're blindfolded, and then you walk along, second clap, and you get 3 claps. Well, she gets that, and, doing hide and clap when you're still moving stuff into your goddamn house is such a great idea. They'd already played a game earlier, and that's how the cellar had been found. And Carolyn's wandering around and everything. She's not caroling along, if you will. She's not singing, more in the pity. And then suddenly, she's in the room, and the demon, the witch, and the wardrobe comes out. It's Aslan, if he was a demon, does... Oh, I'm going to get you. And then she takes the blindfold off. What the hell's going on? Haha, you weren't even close. I was in her room. And then, basically, Christine gets her leg pulled. That's Joey King's character. And says Nancy, and that's they did it where it's like she looked under the bed. And the way they did it, the music, the great way they felt, everything felt like it was coming right at you. But it's like, she's looking, straining her eyes and everything. And then, she sees, and she, is freaking out. She's just crying, but the kind of crying where you can wake up, but you can't really say anything. You're frozen in fear. And, she says there's somebody right behind that door. And there's also a rotting smell, meat smell that's been happening and everything. She says it's standing right behind you. The door shuts. Everybody's freaking out and everything. And Ron Livingston's also a truck driver, and he's got to, do some jobs at some point. But anyway, he's going to, do a driving job and stuff like that. But, well, this stuff keeps happening and kind of keeps him at the house. And it says it wants my family dead. Like, and just Joey King really captured that well. Like, I mean, I'm not saying other actresses couldn't, but I thought as far as like the limited role they gave her, hell, they gave her more to work with here than they did in Wish Upon or Slender Man. Wish Upon, sadly, was the better of the two movies. So anyway, Ed doesn't want Lorraine on this case, but first they're just, going to check out something, and it's leaky pipes. It's like, hey, and then Carolyn's like, going around at night, and the girls are all asleep, but she keeps hearing clapping. She gets, gets into the cellar, gets the door shut on her, and then what the hell's going on? Hey, you want to play hide and clap? And it's Rory. He's not trying to scare her. He's trying to warn her, basically. But, he's a ghost. He only can communicate somewhat. And then she's getting, attacked there. She's freaking out. Cindy goes wardrobe bashing because she's like, Aslan, let me in. Meow. And then it's a demonic ... dive. And someone tell me what the hell's going on. That's what you want to hear your level head dad say. What the hell is going on? Why is my daughter doing mime stuff? And maybe we should have studied up on this goddamn house. So anyway, smash cut to Massachusetts Western University. Maurice, a French-Canadian with a third-grade education, after being possessed, spoke some of the best Latin I'd heard, sometimes backwards. Remember the guy that was in The Nun that got possessed at the very end of it? Sorry, spoilers. I probably should have said that, but this is a retro review. He had the cross thing on him, and then he had upside-down crosses, and then he basically ended up dying because he tried to take a gun to his wife and then shot himself. 3 stages of demonic possession: infestation, oppression, and possession. All right. Infestation, basically the little noises, stuff like that. Oppression, wearing the people down. And possession, pretty self-explanatory. If you don't know what possession is, you might not want to be watching a horror movie. And then Carolyn begs Ed and Lorraine for help. Smell of rotting meat. The clock stops at 3:07 because that's when the murders happen. And show me the cellar, and Lorraine wants to see. She sees all this stuff. Something awful happened here. And they have some music box fun. And Lorraine ends up seeing Rory because she can see ghosts. And then she goes out to this tree and sees his body swinging back and forth. It was a tree. Your house needs a cleansing. I didn't think that would work. I've seen the dark entity that's haunting your house. Like, I saw it when, I got in the door. I saw it when I saw the girls. It's latched itself onto you. It doesn't matter where you go. This entity has latched it's feeding off of you. Sometimes when you get, haunted, it's like stepping on gum. You take a piece of it with you. No, it's literally not like that. And it says, look, I got to tell you, and Lorraine says this, look, I got to tell you, you have a lot of spirits in this house, but this one is the one that worries me the most because it is so hateful. And the way the lines are delivered, Vera Farmiga, tremendous actress. She was great at The Departed. She's been great in a lot of other stuff. She was a good part of Orphan. Orphan somehow worked, despite the fact it shouldn't have. And they're doing an Orphan Origins, Orphanages, if you will. That didn't work. I don't know how the hell they're going to do that. So anyway, during time back home, the daughter says, hey, Grandma and I got these. Here's a necklace I can wear. Here's a necklace you can wear. This ties back a little bit later. And the tape has nothing from the parents because the entity is blocking out their voices. House was built in 1863. Could have said 1963. That wouldn't have fucking worked. But Bathsheba, related to Mary Town Estes. She was one of the women accused of witchcraft in Salem. She basically sacrificed her 7-year-old kid to Satan and sacrificed her kid, went out, declared her love to Satan, and hung herself. Cursed everybody. Before that, though, cursed anybody that would, try to take her land. The land got divided because it was formerly 200 acres, and now suddenly people are dying in these other areas. These other cases, it could factor into all this haunting. And then, basically the crew comes, they start to set things up. They got their tech guy, they got their sheriff, off-duty sheriff. And one of the older daughters happens to fancy the tech guy. Nerds are cool. And then, they're just trying to figure out all this stuff. Like the thermostats, it reacts when people get, when an entity is there. And then the first ever film camera, because it was one of those rolly ones, kind of like from Peeping Tom. Except without the blade. I should try to review that. I should try to retro review a lot of things. So things get back to normal for like 6 hours. Lorraine's helping do the laundry and everything while Ed is working on, fixing up a car for, Ron Livingston, I presume. And then Lorraine's doing stuff. A wind hits because demons apparently control the weather. There's a super demon villain with a weather machine. And then the sheet pops, and then, it's a person, and it flies right up to the window where the entity's flying by. Carolyn ends up getting an oil change / blood thrown in her mouth. And, man, it's a weird lube job. She's all possessed now all of a sudden because the demon went, bleh. And so we get to see what Lorraine, went through, so to speak. She got what we sort of get to see. We don't really get to see, but we sort of get to see it in this. Look what she made me do. Look what she made. Damn you, Demon Taylor Swift. It was actually, she ended up basically, falling through, she ended up, basically, figuring out all this stuff. Oh no, what the hell happened? A maid actually attacked. So, because she was made for this. Cindy ends up sleepwalking again. Follow her. This is the way. This is the way. And basically, the ghost, Rory's basically, this is where I go when I hide. And I need a UV light, a uvula light. Gross. And Lorraine basically finds the daughter, goes through the floor, and ends up, in the basement. And the mother who ended up killing Rory is like, she made me do it. She made me do it. Like, turning the head around. Just the camera work, the beautiful camera work is so phenomenal. And she possessed the mother to kill the child. We get hair pulling, and then we get a demon attack, and they all float off the dock because now the necklace got caught in the basement when Lorraine tried to run out. So now the demon has a line to get to her house. I had a vision of Judy in the water. I see Judy in the water. Now on Shadow Bay. So anyway, we've never seen anything like this. They take footage of the Father, the Son, and not the Holy Spirit, because he has to get approval from the Vatican, because yeah, this house does need a cleansing. The demons go after Judy, and then Annabelle's in the chair. Cherubelle, if you will. And, well, the demons basically don't share it all because the demon decides to throw stuff. This is where things start to get a little bit more amped up as far as scares. Carolyn basically ends up taking the two youngest kids away because everybody gets separated, but now that Carolyn's possessed, she takes the two youngest kids back to sacrifice because that's what the demon does. I did like how everybody gets, good gets back to the house, and the sheriff shoots the door, and right there they do like a chant thing, like a haunting chant thing. That was really good stuff. That's the kind of subtle details that you really can appreciate. And Carolyn basically bites the sheriff's like part of the neck right here, but nothing on the aorta. And Ed does the exorcism. And the chair floats and stuff like that. And they basically have to convince Carolyn. They basically have to say, fight, fight, fight. Their tech guy goes and says, I found her. She's in the floor bed. Thanks. It's not like we didn't have a demon down here. Thanks, idiot. So then they have to basically get her. This is your child. What the hell are you doing? And then she basically throws up the demon blood. And that's it. Everything's good. Oh, and they approve the exorcism after Ed had saved everybody. But the camera works phenomenal. Everything is really great goddamn movie. One of my favorite movies. I can understand why some people don't like it. And I'm not saying every single entry in the series is good, but I really like The Conjuring. Yes, I'm going to dive into Annabelle, which is probably going to end up being a rant because after the first 30 minutes of that. Anyway, I'll save it for the review. Let me know your thoughts on The Conjuring in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Retlin. I'll see you soon.